I am here in my boy Derek Moneyberg's amazing new, what is this, a media studio, podcast studio?
Garage, studio,
Yeah.
kitchen, palace. It's an extension of the palace.
So you built this in your garage, and this garage is better than most people's homes, right? For sure.
Objectively true.
And you got the cars in the background, the Maybach, the new Phantom. Then you got the, when you want to be low key.
Yeah, the Alpina.
Yeah.
They don't even know what an Alpina is, normal person. Normal person don't, but the Alpina is like the top of the line, best BMW you can buy.
Okay.
So it's like, actually, that's the fastest vehicle of those three, as far as like a sports performance vehicle. I'm not a big car guy, but as far as a sports performance vehicle, that Alpina back there has got like 631 horsepower.
Yeah.
0 to 60 in 3.9, I think.
Yeah.
It's like twin turbo, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of fancy.
Okay, excluding the cars, how much did you spend on this whole studio, like turning the garage into a studio?
A little over 1.3, less than 1.4, 1.3 something.
Million. Yeah. All right. Why was that so important to you? To have the studio space, because you have another studio upstairs. Why was it so important to build this one?
I thought it was fun to have a second studio. I was interested in this space in the building, and then it wasn't exactly for sale, but I kind of made it for sale. And then I wanted to renovate it to look, like the palace upstairs, like my gym, like my combat center, like my other studio.
Yeah.
I wanted to have that same look and feel inside. So when the opportunity came up, I'm like, I think this is a good time to make that property available for sale.
Yeah.
And then purchase it. And then I wanted to redesign it exactly how I wanted to,
All right, go. Is it the first interview? Are we like christening it this now, right?
It might be the first interview. Sure.
Right, it's the first one. Let's go, But it makes a lot of sense for you because you have like a lot of high level people like around you working with you, like top athletes.
Well, I found, really, you gave me a lot of guidance about fitness, nutrition, how to live a, optimal lifestyle.
Thank you.
Yeah. Live your best life, man. So I think I got to give Brandon Carter credit for that. We know each other like 10 years. I think in August it's going to be 10 years ago we met.
About 10 years, yeah.
So a couple months, it'll be 10 years ago we met. And I was always pretty strong. I was into lifting some weights and stuff. But I was kind of a fatty for a while. And so over time, I just wanted to make like, it sounds so cocky to say, but it's true, is I thought like, well, you're only going to be alive one time, man. So like, why don't we do everything the best we could make it? Yeah. Like, why don't we have the best life you could have? And I thought, well, what would that look like? Like, what would like a superhero / super villain life look like? And I'm like, well, I should be, I was already smart. I went to, I didn't start out this way, but I went to the best schools. You grew up in Chicago. I went to University of Chicago for grad school after being a derelict youth, having plenty of little troubles and setbacks in life. But I went to Chicago went to the best business school in the country, best business school in the world. I'm strong. I got bodybuilding coaches, help me with my strength. You've helped me with different things in fitness over the years. I got a lot of MMA coaches. They're like, the top MMA fighters and, jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world. The whole roster of many Hall of Famers and current world champions, former world champions. They come train with me, so help me out a lot. And I just think anything that you could be great at, why not do that, man? So like, what would make one person like objectively a better person? That makes people feel uncomfortable when you say that sometimes. So he thinks he's better than other people. I do. I do think I'm better than other people because I'm smarter than them. I went through the trouble to make more money than them. I went through the trouble to build better social skills and better social networks. I went through the trouble to go work my ass off to be, strong, be able to beat up some dude in a fight. Like, I went through the trouble to do those things. Do I think I'm better than somebody who's like weak, dumb, with useless?
I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better than the old version of myself, man. So you should be striving to be better. Maximize, everything you have.
That's the cocky version. The way I said that sounds very cocky.
Yeah.
It's not arrogant because it happens to be true, but it does sound very cocky. But it didn't start off that way, you know. So it started off with, you know, as a child, I didn't have much of shit. You know, I didn't have much. I had a below average childhood, and I wanted to make sure I had a way above average adulthood. You know, so I do think it's important to like find the best teachers, the best coaches, work hard every day, go to bed better than when you woke up, be a better man, better person. You know.
Yeah, and now that you got this podcast, so you can interview some of those coaches here.
Yeah, I have amazing coaches over here every week training with me. Help me a lot with martial arts, help me a lot with my strength training. And I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I do train like a pro fighter, and I do some strength training in there too, but, you know, to help me with that. But yeah, I had some great bodybuilders to help me. There, you know, Flex Lewis helped me a lot with bodybuilding. A guy named Wheeler Sorkarov helped me a lot with bodybuilding. A guy named Flex Wheeler helped me with a couple things. And yeah, man, I mean, that helped a lot. And then, you know, the roster of MMA fighters, it really helped me a lot to have, you know, high level skills in grappling and striking and like legit good MMA skills now.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. So you built this studio, right? And you got all these trainers. What's the plan with the studio? And now you have access to all these coaches that you've been working with for years. Like, what's the game plan behind it? Because you don't spend close to $2 million. How much you say, $2 million?
Yeah, what you said with vehicles, you know, with the vehicles, they're not inexpensive. But earlier we were saying that number, including vehicles, was, you know, approaching $3 million. But you know, just that Rolls Royce is about $800,000, and you know, Maybachs, don't give them away. They're not too cheap, and you know, and so on. So. But yeah, the real estate, I spent 1.3 something, close to 1.4.
You don't spend that kind of money without a plan.
Well, you know, I already have a studio, and I thought it was fun to be able to film down here too sometimes. Okay. So sometimes I'm going to use the main studio for like my mentoring calls, and I thought it was like a fun environment to be able to film for, you know, when I want to do interviews and fun little chats like we're having right now, random chats that I have to use to share with the world, you know? Yeah. Versus when I do my mentoring calls for my business, you know, I tend to do that in my studio and the other big studio.
Yeah, I have something like that too. I mean, it ain't like this, but I got a studio where I do like my podcast and YouTube live, but then I got, you know, a smaller, like more like an office space where I do my mentoring calls and my meetings and shit like that. Yeah.
Well, what are some of the superhero things that you worked on over the years that I know when I say something like that, there's somebody with very skinny legs and a even weaker work ethic. They got Moneyberg, and just remember, man, like the number one thing a hater hates is themselves. Come on, man. I just want to live the best life that I could live. And Brandon's helped me with that quite a lot, honestly. We helped each other with business. We helped each other. Mostly you helped me with fitness. I helped you with some things in the stock market.
100%, man. You helped me make a lot of money with the stock market. I didn't know nothing about investing in the stock market until like you sat down and really coached me.
What were some of your superhero goals, like growing up? You know, when you're a child, you're like, I want to be more like this. I want to be a better man. How were you thinking about this sort of thing?
You know, man, I grew up not far from University of Chicago on the South Side, right? And you know, out for whatever reason, man, they put that school like right in the hood. I ain't gotta tell you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sure it was the same demographic and circumstance.
Yeah.
In the 1800s when they built it. I'm sure that was their intention.
Yeah, I'm sure it was hood bad. It was a Native American hood, man.
No.
Yeah, it was South Side, man. His reputation precedes itself. Anyway, it's for me, man, it was I remember growing up, because I grew up on the South Side, I had very low expectations, man. Like you become like the people you're around, and it was kind of like, you know, even when I talk to kids from there now, it's like they don't think they can grow up and be like fucking successful. They're not thinking, oh, I'm gonna be a hedge fund manager, or I'm gonna be an angel investor, right? They think like, yo, will I be alive at 30, right? So it was more along those lines. And then what happened was I got sent away to military school because I got in a little bit of trouble, you know, nothing crazy, man. Fucking fights, skipping school, shootouts, you know, it's normal kid shit. And they sent me away to military school, and then I was there. I was like one of the only like kids from that kind of background. But there was some like real rich kids there, like some real rich kids there. And I met them and I would became friends with them. I went to their houses and I said, oh, wait a minute, it's another world. It's real. So like one of the main things I wanted to do was just really get some real money, get out the hood. And that was the first time I had motivation. But it was very important that I changed my surroundings. Mm-hmm. You know, then you got to get around people who are winning. And initially it was those kids' parents. You know, they were like the first, oh, wait a minute, there's something different now. This is another way. And I said, maybe I'll go to college. Because it wasn't an ambition, you know? And then I was like, okay. So I started applying myself at school, ended up with like a fucking 3.8 GPA, scored pretty high on my SATs, got in a bunch of schools. I was going to go to DePaul, but I was like, you know, let me just get out of Chicago, you know? And I went to Howard University, and it just put me on a different trajectory. And then I was like, I need to get rich. I need to get rich, and I need to be like fit, as strong as possible. I want to look like a superhero, be able to do athletic shit, and be rich. I didn't want to be the trade-off. I know a lot of people make the trade-off, and I didn't want to do that. You know, those are the main things I thought about, man. So how that manifested itself was just aggressive studying, aggressive learning. Not only in school, but outside of school, reading, masterminds, mentors, and, you know, just hitting the gym every day for like 25 years in a row, you know. There's few days up years. Just 25 years in a row, man. Yeah. You know, tracking everything I eat, you know. Yeah. You just do that. You do that shit for 2.5 decades, man, you should make some progress. Yeah.
You know, I think that's an important thing to discuss is it's okay to have audacious goals if you don't have some lunatic idea that you're going to accomplish them this afternoon.
Yeah.
Overnight. Yeah. I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is like the goals are too small. And then they make them small goals because if they can't imagine themselves doing something quickly, then they don't have the game plan and the motivation, or more importantly, the discipline to put in the work day after day, and get things done. So, you know, I'm about to get my black belt in jiu-jitsu.
It's a big accomplishment.
In the next few months, it's right around the corner. And
you're not just a black belt under Jake Shields, am I right?
Yeah, black.
You know what I'm saying? That's different. It's different than some guy, you know?
Well, you know what? Chael Sonnen, for people that follow martial arts or, you know, UFC/MMA, Chael Sonnen, who's, you know, was an excellent fighter and, you know, well-respected shit talker and, you know, ass kicker. He reached out to me a few months ago. He asked me some advice about options contracts and about stock market. And so we chatted about that for maybe 15 minutes. And he's like, you know, hey, you still been training regularly? I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah. He said, you still training with Jake? I said, yeah, Jake Shields been, you know, we started together and he's been my main MMA coach. And, you know, I asked Lyoto Machida and Glover Teixeira to help me with my striking. So
I trained with you all three of you guys once. It was intense. Yeah.
It's intense, yeah.
It's intense, man.
So I asked Glover and Lyoto to, you know, those are my coaches for Kempo Karate. I'm like halfway to black belt in their Kempo Karate system. But yeah, Jake Shields has been my jiu-jitsu, you know, / grappling coach, and all my belts for grappling and for jiu-jitsu are under Jake. And he's like, wow, that's really something to be proud of, Chael said. He said, you know, George St. Pierre said years ago, Jake Shields is the best MMA grappler ever. And when I heard that, I thought, is that true? Who's better than Jake Shields? And I thought, you know, Damian Maia. So no, Jake beat Damian Maia. I thought of a couple other people, and no, he's better than that. He's like, wow, Jake Shields is the best MMA grappler ever. He's like, that's really an accomplishment to have your black belt under, you know.
I'm saying, that's why I wanted to highlight it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I feel proud about that. Jake's a very good man. He's been
good dude. Yeah,
very good man. Very honorable. We've been very consistent together. But that's the point that I want to get back to is like, Man, it takes a lot of consistency. You know, when you were here some time ago, I think in December, my friend Hoist Gracie was here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Hoist is another person who's been a, you know, coach or mentor to me in jiu-jitsu and MMA. And Hoist Gracie said, like, when I got my brown belt, I said, well, you know, I've only been training like 2.5 years, and I know that's very fast to be promoted to brown belt in 2.5 years. He said, no. He said, you did 9 years of training in 2.5 years. You didn't train 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You did 9 years of training in 2.5 years.
And that's coming from Hoist.
It's Hoist Gracie.
Yeah.
So, no, I feel like that's the type of work ethic that if you want to have top level results, that's the type of work ethic that everything I've been successful at, I took it seriously like that.
Not even seriously, like you're an extremist.
Yeah, I heard that anytime I say anything about, you know, money or freedom, they use that word. Yeah, extremist.
But it makes sense, right? You got extreme results, right? You need to have extreme actions to get extreme results. And I think the way you dove into martial arts is just another reflection of that.
Well, you can't be a superhero doing, you know, average shit.
Yeah.
If you want to have superhero outcomes, then you're going to have to engage in some superhero behaviors.
And cause and effect.
Yeah. So, you know, I always thought like, you know, you and I talked about this earlier. Like, I say some cocky things once in a while, mm-hmm. But for the people that are still here that weren't turned off by that with your single-digit IQs, for those remaining, it's like, man, I'm not a very cocky person in real life. It's like, I don't want to do shit my way. I want to do it the best way. I want to do things in a way that's going to get the best results. And also I want to get money. Also, I too wish to get money.
Yeah.
I get money I got. Let's get it.
Yeah, it's like an affirmation. For me, it's like an affirmation. Yeah. Get money I got.
Yeah, mine's just on silent.
Yeah. It's smart.
I just put my silent, so I have a constant reminder in my head, right? Yeah. But yeah, if you want to have, you know, uncommon results, if you want to have exceptional results, you're going to have to engage in exceptional behaviors. And the people that don't want to do this, success is not for everyone.
It's not.
Success is not for everyone. If you want to have exceptional results, you have to engage in exceptional behaviors, mm-hmm. and you have to do that consistently. What if you only engage in, you know, the business habits that you have, or the fitness or the dietary habits? What if you only did that at times that was convenient, or times when you were motivated?
Bro, I think I'd rather you do nothing than do something inconsistently, because at least if you do nothing, you don't give yourself false hope, right? Or false belief, right? You can't feel like you were cheated or like life's not fair if you know you didn't try, right? But these people who are inconsistent with anything, they fuck around and do just enough to fail. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because if you didn't do anything, you didn't even fail. You didn't try, right? It's almost like people say, "Oh, well, something's better than nothing." No, nothing's better than something, right? You put all the effort into something you could do consistently. When you just fuck around a little bit, you really just do just enough to fail. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. Yeah, you set an unreasonable goal and then, you know, fail to live up to that standard, fail to achieve an outcome. And like, it is definition of what makes you a failure, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I remember it was during the pandemic, and you were super focused on the stock market, rightfully so. You made a lot of money as a result, and you just kept saying, "Listen, I'm gonna focus on the stock market. We're getting this super opportunity, but when I'm ready, I'm gonna get super locked in on my fitness." You would tell me that, you know, and I believed you. I understood that. I didn't think you were bullshit. I understand it because I'm like, yeah, man, don't fuck around until you're ready to dive in and be consistent. And then I didn't know you were gonna go this hard. You know what I'm saying? But you went that hard, and you've been doing it for the 3 years plus, right? So it makes total sense. That's perfect. If you're not going to be consistent because you got another priority, maybe that's fine. Or you got something else going on, and then you did it, and now
during that time, if you look back at 2020, when the world lost its day of mind and people acted obscenely foolish in many ways.
Yeah.
But these are the best times in the world to make serious money in the stock market, when people are panicked and scared and freaked out about really not much. It's amazing. There's amazing opportunities. And, I looked at that. It took me, I don't know, I was 29 when I had $1 million, and, my early 30s, I had a few $1 million. I was still driving a Honda. I had a few $1 million and was driving a old Honda car. People make fun of that sometimes. I had, a couple 100,000 miles on that car.
Oh, yeah.
I had, 4 point something, 5 million in, net worth. And, I chipped away at things, and I made, over the years, you put away $500,000 and $1 million and $500,000 and $1 million, and it adds up. But going in 2011, when that hysteria struck, I had, 10 point something, $11 million. Yeah. And then, in less than 2 years, before the end of 2021, I had about 53 million.
Yeah.
So I made about 42 million added to my net worth, while other people were, hiding under a bed and watching, under news about, with horror movie music in the background that's supposed to give you the chills. So some of them want to forget about that time, but you know who you were. You know who you were with the diaper on your head, hiding under the bed. So yeah, when people are acting absurd and hysterical, that's the best time to make money. It's the best time to make money. And, at that time I was like 300 pounds. I was 30% body fat, 300 pounds. And haters on the internet say, "You're fat. Why should I listen to your advice about business? You're fat." I'm like, I don't mind. You think I just made $42 million in the past, year and a half. But if you want to listen to somebody else or just do what you've been doing, if you're happy with your results, just keep doing what you've been doing, man. Keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're happy with your results, I don't mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, if you want to have a balanced life, you can have a balanced life over time. But when somebody talks, somebody who's in their 20s, in their 30s, talks about balance, I think that's a dire mistake.
It's a huge mistake.
You need an extremely unbalanced life in your 20s and 30s. You need to be building your superhero repertoire, like, being smarter than the other men, being harder working than the other men, building better social networks and relationships, sincere friendships. When I say, I'm not saying like networking, like fake networking and creating like fake little relationships. I'm like, no, building like real friendships and alliances, and like, a strong warrior or a strong general, the king, is the king because it has great alliances and friendships with other people that matter, other powerful people, other intelligent people, other people that can contribute to the kingdom, So I think those friendships and relationships are important. I think you're building your strength is cool. I think, being able to defend yourself or, kill an attacker who would wish you harm.
Yeah, evildoer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. So, any of these things, like what permutation would, if you were picking the type of man you'd want your daughter to date, it'd be a list of those type of things. If you were picking like the type of person you'd want to be your business partner or your like a strong ally or hunter or her companion in life to go do tough man shit, you like that dude to be like smart, loyal, strong, able to defend himself. Probably it'd be cool if he has some financial resources, social resources. So you got to build the life that you want, you got to build that kind of life. And, if you don't want to do the work, just go do some normal people shit. That's okay with me. But I wanted to have the best life I could. I thought, hey, I'll be dead soon enough. How do we make things as good as possible? And I think you're another person that's been, disciplined on your vision to, I know you 10 years, you've been lean the whole time, strong, lean, always focused on the same few principles and the same few goals and enhancing them. So, man, I don't care about the new trendy thing. I want to those like timeless success indicators. I want to build those for the rest of my life,
Yeah. I like what you said about balance being a trap. It's a scam. Unless you want to be a regular guy who does regular shit.
Yeah.
Then balance is probably a good.
That's cool, man. If you don't mind having like a small house, big wife, You can be more balanced.
But more balance gives you average results. Balance will give you average results. But, and the average American has less than $1,000 in the bank. Yeah. Average American is like, close to 20 pounds overweight. The average American just is not really winning by any metric.
An average man can't have an average woman. An average man cannot keep an average woman, because the average woman can still have a relationship or at least some time and attention from an above average man.
Yeah.
So an average man, by definition, has to have a notably below average woman. And some of the most below average men don't have any woman at all.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind having, like, if you want to be an average man and have like a 25th percentile woman and $1,000 in your bank account, and
what type of kids are you gonna have?
Oh, poor things.
Yeah. Poor ain't asked for this. They ain't asked to be here under those circumstances.
Living with their big mom in the small house.
Damn. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, indeed.
Eating Spam.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? One public school.
Oh, public school. Ain't no telling what they teach you there. Nothing that'll make you successful. That's a fact.
Flying Spirit Airlines.
Maybe not flying. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not flying.
Yeah, once a year. Once a year when they when they could take a fancy trip once a year as an adult. Spirit.
Put them on Spirit, man.
Spirit.
Maybe road trip. You know what I'm saying?
In a used car.
Yeah. It's just like, if that's cool with you, then balance is like a great path for that, right? But if you want extreme results, you got to put in extreme effort. Like, that balance shit doesn't even happen in the fucking movies, right? Batman wasn't balanced, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't even happen in the fucking movies.
It's too unbelievably. It's so dumb to think that you could have outstanding results without an outstanding effort.
Yeah.
That, like you say, even in a Hollywood movie, they would never tell such a silly story. It's just so unrelatable and silly.
No, nobody would. But the audience wouldn't pick up on that. They wouldn't believe that. You got to be an extremist.
You could be born in a different galaxy far away, and but he worked hard. But he went and sought out a mentor.
Yeah.
The dude Luke Skywalker was born in a different galaxy far away, but went and found a mentor and helped him, on the path.
Yeah, mentorship. How's that been important to you? Like, mentorship.
You know what? When I was a kid, I was truly misguided. I was truly a misguided youth. And I didn't have any mentors. I had to go guess and check, because my father wasn't around. My father was, he was busy with, an illegal business when I was a child. And then when I was 7, he went to prison he had a 15-year prison sentence. Before he went to prison, he was busy selling drugs. And then he went to prison for a long time, so he really wasn't around for my childhood.
Yeah.
And my mother was not the best mother. She could have been worse. But I didn't have I had no role model. I had anti-role models, which is useful. I don't mean to say,
100%.
In the environment that I was in, you look around, you'd be like, all right, I remember how my parents used to fight when I was a child. They say terrible things to each other and, be violent with each other sometimes. And I thought, all right, when I grow up, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to live that. I don't want to treat my woman that way. And I'm not going to accept a woman who would treat me that way, So then you look around at other things happening in the environment. There's a lot of people that were alcoholics or using drugs and shit. And I was like, all right, that doesn't look like it's going to help me be my best self or accomplish my best goals, So those anti-role models are useful, believe it or not. You're like, because there's some clear things you'd be like, all right, heavy substance abuse doesn't look like a wise path forward here.
Yeah.
So that's good though. Okay. Because there's some people that they become successful and they go do crazy shit like that and they ruin their whole life.
They don't have no reference points. Yeah.
So I don't think that was a totally bad thing. But when you're like, all right, I know I'm not doing these few things. I know to never do those things. What the hell should I do? And then when you got to go guess and check like that, that's very painful because, even if you're working hard on the wrong things, you can be making your life worse.
Yeah.
Hard work's not enough. You can work really hard, but if you're making that effort towards the wrong things, you're making things worse.
Yeah.
And you only got so much hard work you can put out in your lifetime, So I think it's very important, it's better to learn from somebody else's mistakes than to go make your own mistakes. You're going to pay one way or the other. You're going to pay for a good mentor. You pay for that by making yourself useful to that person. You might pay with some money. You might pay with your time to make yourself useful to that person and provide a product or service or do something for them that enhances their life substantially, that they'll take a moment to point you in the right direction on occasion, you know? But that's a lot lower price to pay than the price of naivety or the price of stupidity. And, you know, I always want to banish like a bit of my ignorance every day and be a little less ignorant, a little more wise when I go to sleep every day. So I understood, you know, I got to go find the best teachers, the best coaches, the best mentors who could help me accomplish my goals.
Yeah. You know, they say experience is the best teacher, right? But I always think, it doesn't have to be your experience, right? You know what I'm saying? You can learn it from someone else's experience. Like when I got into the stock market, you had like decades of experience in it already, right? I was able to benefit from your experience without having to go through the same trials and tribulation and made a lot of money as a result.
Yeah, it only took me 30 years of thinking about it and 9 years of university training to reading a lot of books.
Yeah, economics, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't have to do any of that. I could just talk to you, right? It's like, it's a fucking cheat code. It's like, it was really a cheat code.
It is a cheat code when you find, I think the closest things to like a shortcut, there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut, but the closest thing to a shortcut to accomplishing your goals is find somebody who already did the thing that you want to do. Find somebody who already did that in real life and make yourself useful to that person, that they're willing to take a moment of time to point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And you know, they may or may not be nice to you, which shouldn't matter. You know, like if Warren Buffett, I've used this analogy for some time, but I think it'd be, you know, hilarious and amazing. Like if Warren Buffett, you know, if he had a little nephew or something that he didn't even like that little shithead, you know, but just theoretically say he took the time to send him a text every day or to send you a text every day with like 3 bullet points. Even if 2 of the bullet points were insults, yeah, man, I'm disappointed with you. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
By the way, take a look at this stock. If he could send you a little daily text with like 3 bullet points, 2 of them could be insults, but if the third one was like a point in the right direction, man, it'd make your life better, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you like to hear Warren's input?
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm buying such and such today.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I'm do some research on this. Let me know what you think, kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so important to have somebody to point you in the right direction. It's the closest thing to magic, closest thing to cheating. That the people that have good coaches and mentors and also have the intellect and work ethic to go do the thing, of course they're going to have the best results.
Yeah.
How could it be otherwise?
Yeah.
I've been saying for, you know, some time now, I had this thought a while ago. I thought, you know, when somebody said, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and that, they're going to do. I said, you know what? Your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect. Your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect. And think about that. It's like, if you were making a hell of an effort and you don't have results, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You're probably not very smart. You probably haven't been doing the right things. Because if you were working really hard, really giving it your all, and your results are still poor, then your thinking has got to be off, yeah?
Yeah.
What if you were really smart?
Yeah.
What if you're super smart, but you still don't have results? Well, it sounds like your work ethic has been slacking.
And those people are not rare.
They're everywhere. Yeah. A lot of smart people that don't do shit. That should be good news for both for those of you that are smart and not. That you don't have to be the smartest person, but if you're willing to work harder than them, if you're smart enough, and you're willing to outwork those high IQ, lazy individuals, you can earn a lot better outcome than them.
Yeah.
And I always make fun of, I kind of poke at some of my smartest clients, like high IQ, nerdy people. And like, doesn't it piss you off when you see somebody that's dumber than you getting better results? And they're like, yeah, universally, they understand, you know, like, how do you feel when you see somebody who's not as smart as you earning better results than you are? And universally, that makes people a little, But why do you think they're doing that? How do you think that happens, smart guy? Yeah, your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the Bible even says by their fruits you should know them. You know, what do they produce? You know, what's happening right now? It's really just it. You know, the results are like lagging indicators. It just shows what happened, you know. But like the leading indicators, like tell the future, like what kind of effort you putting in on a daily basis, how consistent you are, right? You know, you really gotta figure out what those leading indicators are and then get like super specific with them and super consistent with them, whatever context it is, right? And the best way to do that is to get, you know, a mentor, right? It's the only form of learning that doesn't fail. Like we've all read books and didn't do the shit in the book, you know, all of us, you know what I'm saying? Like I bought courses or programs and maybe I didn't do the shit that it said, you know what I'm saying? But when you have a mentor, I mean, that's the fucking form of learning that never fails. You know what I'm saying? That's how we all learned math. It was a fucking adult taught us how to fucking do it who already did it. That's how most of us learned to walk, right? There's some motherfuckers coaching us or somebody coaching us while you were walking, you were busting your ass a million times. But you know, you can't get a book on like how to swim. You know what I'm saying? You should get in the water and you're probably gonna have to get in the water with a coach.
Yes, read a book about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, nah, you can't read a book about jiu-jitsu and
read a book about spinning.
Hop into the octagon. Nah. Hey, yo, man, you don't understand, man. I read this book. I saw some free YouTube videos. Yeah. Saw these YouTube videos. This is a podcast. I'm ready to get in the octagon. You know, I don't think it works like that.
You went Dustin Poirier. Shout out to Dustin. Dustin's been a decent friend. We did a few talks together and interviews and stuff like that. Dustin Poirier won his interim belt some years ago, and when he held that belt, when he got his hands on that belt, you know, he said, "This is my belt. I earned this. Paid in full. Paid in blood." And it's not an exaggeration. It's like the if you heard the tone of his voice, is you know, the voice of like a proud man. You know, he's not being arrogant or cocky. He's like, you know, I worked hard and I bled for this. You know, literally, decades. So, you know, I think that guy, and I'm not insulting him. I'm saying I think that guy's got like an 8th grade education. I'm not sure that he finished high school. That may not be true. That's my understanding. But which I'm not making fun of him for. I'm just saying a guy that came from that environment, that guy worked hard. He's a hard worker. Yeah. He's a hard worker and he had great coaches, you know? Yeah. And, you know, that's the price, man. If you want to have like those type of results, like champion results is like, you know, paid in blood. So you're going to go whatever is necessary day after day and have, you know, concussions and bleeding. Yeah. And even, you know, my training, you know, I'm not trying to be a UFC champion, but I trained with many UFC champions. And, yeah, you know, I had plenty of soreness, plenty of body aches, you know, a couple serious injuries that would never be fixed without surgery. But, you know, that's what makes those people respect you is you're going to show up. And I created an accountability schedule where my schedule is full. You know, all of 2025, my schedule's full a year in advance, sometimes 14, 16 months in advance. I know who my coach is. I know which coach is coming this week and the next week and the next week and the next week. And I showed up and put in that effort. You know, the first 2 years, you just get beat up smaller people. And it don't feel good, you know? It don't feel good for your body. It don't feel good for your ego. But that's what's necessary if you want to accomplish a higher level goal. And, you know, it's the same thing in business. Like, you know, I made plenty of bad mistakes as a child, and then you do guess and check. And finally, you know, if you're working hard enough and you're willing to make yourself useful to others and, you know, pay the price of mentorship, then, you know, I found good teachers and good coaches who would help me, good mentors to point me in the right direction. Yeah, that changed my results so much, you know, night and day. Yeah. So you need those two things. Without those two things, there's no notable success, in my opinion. Have you ever seen anybody be wildly successful but was lazy and didn't have a good coach or teacher?
Nah, man. Nah. Like, you can't, even if you get lucky, like, you won't be able to capitalize on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a lucky circumstances comes up, you can't capitalize on it without the preparation. Yeah.
I'm insulted when somebody says, good luck. When I say I'm about to do something, I say, oh, good luck. And they mean it in a positive way. And like, do you think I'm relying on luck to? No, I'm relying on skills and hard work and skills. if you're relying on luck as a strategy for your success, that's like a lottery. That's like somebody that buys lottery tickets. You're relying on luck for your success?
Luck is the last dying wish of those who think success can happen on accident. Yeah.
Well said.
Thanks.
You probably thought of that just now.
I might have stole it from somewhere. Or I thought of it. I don't know.
What's the number?
It might have been logged in my subconscious mind for someone else, or I made up right before I said it. Either way, I like it. I know we talked a lot about mentorship, right? And the benefits of it. If somebody wanted to get mentored by you specifically, similar to the way you mentor me with the stock market and other business stuff, like, how would they go about it?
I mean, I think the right way to get an introduction to that is that, and I don't know if you have time in your schedule, but in the past, there's been a couple times that we've done like web trainings like that together. That we talk to people in your audience and my audience together, and I should be clear that like, I'm not here to push a lazy person up a mountain. I'm not here to try to, somebody tells me, Derek, I want to make millions of dollars, but I don't want to do the work. Success is not for you.
It's not for you, bro.
Success is not for that type of person. So the only type of people that I want to work with is somebody who understands that like, I always say like my perfect client, my target audience, the people that I work with, the only people that I work with. I don't take clients that are lazy and that are okay with a small home and a big wife. And I don't take those type of clients. It's like, you don't need my help to be mediocre.
Yeah.
So the right type of person for me to help is somebody who's already doing well in life. They're already doing good at something, but they know they could do even better. They have the calling like you've had. They have the calling like I've had. Like, man, I want to do better. I want to do more. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm eager to put in the work. You know that work, the right knowledge and the right effort behind that knowledge is the difference between some average mediocre versus like the best of the best, the top 1%. And I remember when it was popular some years ago, people talk about the evil 1%, that's still popular every election cycle. You should be in the top 1%. That's what you only gotta make like $500,000 a year to be in the top 1%, man.
That's it.
I mean, if that's all I made, if I made $500,000 a month, I'd be pretty depressed,
Yeah, I get that.
If I only made $500,000 in a month, I'd be like, I would have to change something dramatically. Things fell off.
Immediately.
So, and I like to make six figures from my dividend distributions. I like to make, not only I like to, I do make that, but like, if I was making less than six figures for my monthly dividends, I'd be like, we got to fix something. Yeah. Something's going awry.
Yeah.
So, the right type of person for me to help is somebody who's, at a minimum, has a goal to have $1 million net worth. You're already doing good at something. And, there's no free money. There's no easy money. I can show you the most important things that you would need to know, but you got to have to put in the work to earn your spot in the world like any other productive man or woman.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, go, if that's you, maybe jump on that free training that we're doing.
We doing a free training?
Listen, Moneyberg, if there's enough enthusiasm from the audience, you think you can make some time to do that with me for my audience?
I'll make time to do anything you want to do. You've been a good friend to me for a decade, and if there's somebody out there, if we could save some souls from poverty or mediocrity, and help show them the path to better days, brighter ways, I'd be happy to help somebody like that, if you're willing to help yourself.
All right, so if that's you, click that link in the description, register for the free training. Last time we did this, we had too many people in it, right? We crashed it, so we got to make sure that we're gonna limit how many people are in now. If you see it in its availability, you'll be able to get in. But we got to limit it this time because too many people showed up.
This true. We had to switch from one platform to the other because the first platform literally crashed. Yeah. So we had a tech issue and we had to switch hundreds of people over from one platform to the other in the middle of our web training. So, hey, success is not for everybody. It may or may not be for you. It's for you to decide, though. This little logo on my shirt says "Choose to Conquer." A different way of saying that is that success is a lifestyle choice. If you're the type of person that's willing to pay the price of success, if you're the type of person that's willing to work hard and you're smart enough to find good coaches, good mentors, good teachers who already did the things that you want to do, I'd be happy to help you be more successful in your financial journey. There's a lot of people on the internet, they say, trading this and drop ship that and these crazy things, the most insane things. Like, I don't do any of that. I do a lot of very boring things. I do boring things that work. I do boring things like show up at the gym and lift my weights 5 times a week. I do boring things like show up over 200 days a year for my MMA training. I do boring things like learn about finance and investments every day of the year for decades of my life. And because I had the discipline to do those things and pay attention to little details that other people didn't want to, that helped me make tens of millions of dollars in the stock market. In addition, it helped me make over $10 million in real estate. In addition, it helped me make over $50 million, damn near $100 million in entrepreneurial revenue. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you want to learn from somebody who did those things and help teach one of your mentors how to do some of those things, I'd be happy to help you. But you got to show up for your own success and be happy to help yourself as well. If you're the type of person that's willing to learn more so you can earn more, if you're the type of person that if you knew better, you would do better, click that link. Click that link. I'll do a new web training with Bandon. Make sure we point you in the right direction and help banish some of those ignorant thoughts, help you be a little wiser and more proficient at accomplishing your biggest and best goals.
That's exciting. Click that link in the description right now. If somebody wanted to start walking down that path and they wanted to learn from you how to do it, how would they go about that?
Guess what? Brandon's asked me to do a live training for his audience and mine. We're gonna do that on April 28th, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. In that training, I'm gonna walk you through the 10 most important things. I call the 10 commandments of wealth, the 10 things you must do if you want to create serious wealth in your lifetime. Who's the right person to come to that live training?
And in my mind, I think it would be somebody who's not only ambitious, but has the kind of work ethic that will allow them to put in the work necessary, right? Because it ain't no get rich quick thing, right? Somebody will have to put in a lot of work over a consistent amount of time, but they'll be able to put in the right work and that will definitely put them down and march them down that path, So it's not for somebody who's lazy. It's not for somebody who wants something like a get rich quick scheme. Somebody who wants like the real foundation to build serious wealth.
Yeah. I don't believe in get rich quick. If it's so easy to get rich quick, if every fool who had a bad work ethic and no knowledge could get rich quick, they would have done it already.
Yeah.
If you could get rich by yourself, you would have done it already. So don't worry about get rich quick or get rich slow, but do worry about getting rich. Do worry about creating enough wealth in your lifetime. You can have whatever silly shit you want. You can have purple stone to match your purple Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
If you don't want a purple Rolls Royce, get a green one.
Get a green one.